Welcome everyone to tonight's story. Gather around as we delve into a tale of mystery, history, and the supernatural, a story that takes us to a place often shrouded in fog and secrets, where the past and present intertwine in eerie harmony. Tonight we explore the ghost of the old cemetery. Imagine a small, quiet town nestled between rolling hills, its streets lined with charming old homes and ancient oak trees. This town has always been known for its tranquil atmosphere and friendly residents, but lurking beneath this serene facade is a story that has haunted the locals for generations, a story about a ghost that roams the old cemetery on the edge of town. The old cemetery, established in the early 1800s, is a place steeped in history. Its weathered gravestones and crumbling mausoleums stand as silent witnesses to the lives once lived and the stories once told. For decades, it has been a place of quiet reflection and reverence. However, it has also become known for something far more unsettling: the ghost that reportedly haunts its grounds. The ghost in question is said to be that of a woman named Eliza Whitmore. Eliza was a young woman who lived in the town during the mid-19th century. She was known for her beauty and kind heart, and her presence was beloved by all who knew her. Tragically, Eliza's life was cut short when she died under mysterious circumstances at the age of 25. Though the official records list her cause of death as an illness, many believe there was more to her untimely demise. Eliza was buried in the old cemetery, and it wasn't long before rumors began circulating about strange occurrences associated with her grave. Local legend has it that Eliza's spirit remains restless, bound to the cemetery by unfinished business or an unresolved tragedy. The first recorded sighting of Eliza's ghost dates back to the late 1800s. Several townsfolk reported seeing a ghostly figure dressed in period attire wandering among the gravestones. She was often described as a woman in a flowing white dress, her appearance accompanied by a chilling breeze and an otherworldly glow. One of the most famous stories about Eliza's ghost involves a local schoolteacher named Mr. Thomas Gray. In the early 1900s, Mr. Gray decided to take a midnight stroll through the old cemetery, seeking inspiration for his poetry. As he walked among the graves, he noticed a figure in white moving between the headstones. At first, he thought it was merely a trick of the light, but as he approached, the figure became clearer. It was Eliza Whitmore, her face pale and her eyes filled with sorrow. Mr. Gray tried to speak to her, but she remained silent, simply drifting away among the tombstones before disappearing into the mist. The encounter left Mr. Gray shaken, and he wrote about it extensively in his journals, which later became the subject of local folklore. Over the years, numerous others have reported similar encounters. Some say that Eliza's ghost is drawn to those who visit her grave in search of answers or solace. Others believe she seeks to communicate her story to anyone who might listen. Visitors have described hearing faint whispers and seeing fleeting glimpses of her spectral form. Some have even reported feeling a cold, inexplicable chill when near her resting place. The town's residents have always had mixed feelings about the ghost stories. Some dismiss them as fanciful tales, while others take them very seriously. A local historian, Mrs. Eleanor Barnes, has spent years researching the history of the cemetery and the life of Eliza Whitmore. According to Mrs. Barnes, there may be some truth to the ghostly sightings. She discovered that Eliza was engaged to be married to a prominent young man in town, but their engagement ended abruptly just before her death. Some believe that Eliza's ghost may be searching for her lost love or seeking justice for some wrong done to her. In addition to these stories, there have been several attempts to investigate the paranormal activity at the old cemetery. Teams of ghost hunters and paranormal researchers have visited the site, using modern equipment to capture evidence of Eliza's ghost. While some claim to have recorded strange noises and captured unexplained phenomena, concrete proof remains elusive. One particularly intriguing piece of evidence came from a group of amateur paranormal enthusiasts who visited the cemetery one foggy evening. They set up cameras and recording devices around Eliza's grave and conducted a séance in an attempt to communicate with her spirit. During the session, one of the investigators reported feeling a sudden drop in temperature and witnessed a shadowy figure moving near the grave. Although the footage was inconclusive, it added to the growing lore surrounding Eliza's ghost. Despite the ongoing fascination with Eliza Whitmore's ghost, the old cemetery remains a place of respect and contemplation. The town has embraced the legend as part of its heritage, and many locals see the ghost stories as a way to honor the memory of those who came before them. Some even believe that Eliza's spirit is a guardian of the cemetery, ensuring that the stories of the past are never forgotten. As night falls and the mist settles over the old cemetery, it's easy to imagine Eliza Whitmore wandering among the graves, her presence a poignant reminder of the town's history and the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil of the ordinary. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the tale of Eliza's restless spirit is a testament to the enduring power of stories and the way they connect us to our past. And so, as we conclude tonight's journey into the supernatural, we are left with a sense of wonder and curiosity. The ghost of the old cemetery continues to captivate the imagination of those who hear her story, and perhaps, in some way, she remains a part of the town's fabric, a spectral thread weaving through the annals of its history. Thank you for joining me on this eerie adventure. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your mind curious, for you never know what mysteries might be lurking just around the corner. Tonight's tale is one of chilling suspense and eerie mystery. We venture into a story that has captivated and terrified locals for decades. It's a story about the ghost in the cemetery, a haunting that transcends time and leaves a chilling impression on all who encounter it. Our story begins in the small, isolated town of Ravenswood, a place that time seems to have forgotten. It's a town known for its picturesque landscapes and tight-knit community, but it's also home to a secret that sends shivers down the spines of those who dare to uncover it. The old cemetery on the outskirts of town has been the focal point of strange and unsettling occurrences for as long as anyone can remember. The cemetery, with its weathered headstones and ancient oak trees, is a relic from another era. It's a place where the past lingers like a persistent fog, and the air is thick with a sense of the unknown. This story centers around a particularly grim event that unfolded there many years ago, an event that gave rise to the ghostly figure now said to haunt its grounds. In the early 1900s, the cemetery was the site of an unusual and tragic incident. A young woman named Margaret Lawson lived in Ravenswood. She was known for her kind heart and gentle demeanor, and she was deeply loved by her community. Margaret was engaged to be married to a local farmer named James Thornton. Their wedding was the talk of the town, and everyone eagerly anticipated the joyful occasion. However, the happiness was short-lived. Just days before the wedding, Margaret was found dead in the cemetery. Her death was ruled a suicide, but the circumstances surrounding it were shrouded in mystery. The townsfolk whispered about a possible foul play, but no evidence was ever found to support their suspicions. Margaret was buried in the cemetery, and the town was left to grapple with the sudden and tragic loss. It wasn't long before reports of Margaret's ghost began to surface. According to local legend, her spirit did not rest peacefully. On moonlit nights, people claimed to see a spectral figure wandering among the graves. She was described as a woman in a white dress, her face a mask of sorrow and despair. The ghostly Margaret was said to be searching for something or someone. One of the earliest and most chilling accounts comes from a local grave digger named Thomas Reed. Thomas worked at the cemetery and often stayed late to finish his tasks. On one fateful night, as he was preparing to leave, he saw a figure moving among the gravestones. At first, he thought it was another late-night visitor, but as he drew closer, he realized that the figure was translucent and glowing with an eerie light. Thomas tried to approach the figure, but it vanished before his eyes, leaving him standing alone in the cold night air. The experience left him deeply unsettled, and he refused to work in the cemetery after dark. As time went on, the sightings continued. People claimed to hear soft, mournful cries emanating from the cemetery, and some even reported seeing Margaret's ghost appear in their dreams, pleading for help or offering cryptic messages. The ghost's presence seemed to be tied to specific dates, particularly those related to Margaret's life and death. One particularly harrowing account comes from a young woman named Emily Carter, who visited the cemetery one Halloween night with a group of friends. They were exploring the area, laughing and daring each other to approach the old mausoleums, when Emily noticed something unusual. She saw a figure standing by Margaret's grave, its form faint and ethereal. Emily's friends laughed it off as a trick of the light, but Emily was convinced that what she saw was real. Later that night, Emily experienced a vivid and disturbing dream. In the dream, Margaret appeared to her, her face lined with anguish. She seemed to be trying to communicate something important, but Emily could not understand her words. When Emily awoke, she felt a heavy sense of dread and unease that lingered throughout the day. As the stories of Margaret's ghost spread, they began to attract the attention of paranormal investigators. One team, led by a seasoned investigator named Rachel Turner, decided to conduct a thorough investigation of the cemetery. Rachel and her team arrived at the site on a crisp autumn evening, armed with the latest ghost hunting equipment and determination to uncover the truth. Their investigation began with a series of EVP electronic voice phenomena sessions. They set up microphones and recording devices around Margaret's grave and asked questions, hoping to capture any responses from the spirit world. During one of these sessions, they recorded an eerie, disembodied voice that seemed to be calling out Margaret's name. The voice was faint and distorted, but it was unmistakable. Rachel and her team also conducted a series of thermal imaging scans and night vision camera recordings. They observed unusual temperature fluctuations around Margaret's grave, and their cameras captured fleeting, shadowy figures moving among the tombstones. While these findings were intriguing, they did not provide definitive proof of a ghost. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the investigation only deepened the mystery surrounding Margaret's ghost. The cemetery continued to be a place of intrigue and fear for those who dared to visit. Some locals believed that Margaret's ghost was bound to the cemetery by unfinished business, while others thought she might be seeking justice for her untimely death. The legend of Margaret's ghost persisted, and the cemetery became a focal point for ghost hunters, thrill seekers, and curious minds. The tale of the sorrowful bride searching for answers or redemption became a part of the town's folklore, passed down through generations as a chilling reminder of the unknown. As the years went by, the cemetery remained a place of quiet reflection and ghostly legend. The story of Margaret Lawson continued to captivate and terrify those who heard it, and the old cemetery stood as a testament to the enduring power of the supernatural. As we conclude tonight's story, remember that sometimes the past leaves its mark on the present in ways we can't always understand. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the legend of Margaret's ghost serves as a haunting reminder that some mysteries may never be fully resolved.